They called her a rookie. They laughed until a Marine stood up and barked, "Iron Wolf, stand ready." A broken watch, an empty wallet, a dusty road. Tonight, Amelia decides who lives and who doesn't. Watch till the last second. Amelia kept the broken watch in her fist the way some people held prayers. The glass was spidered. The hands were stuck at 0217. It had cracked on a Tuesday that no one in town wanted to talk about anymore. She still did. She had to. The county fairgrounds were a machine of lights and soft music and sweet smoke. Cotton candy clung to the air like fog. A politician's banner trembled on thin wires above the main stage. Local security wore matching windbreakers and loud bravado. They joked when they spotted her badge. "New face," one said. "Rookie," said another. She smiled. Amelia, that was all she offered. She had learned that names could be load-bearing beams. The more weight you hang on them, the faster they warp. Her empty wallet folded like a dry leaf in her pocket. Rent had taken what groceries hadn't. Fuel had finished the rest. She could feel the shape of each missing bill when she walked. It hurt in a superstitious way, as if money were ballast and she was now too light to steer. The dusty road into the fair still clung to her boots. She had parked far, where the gravel thinned and prairie grass pressed near. That's where the wind spoke clear. The closer she walked toward the music, the muddier the sound turned. She studied the open maps the way a medic studies skin. Tents, power runs, service alleys. The small places where people didn't look because lights drew them toward the big ones. She moved those little places with her eyes and waited for which one moved back. The stage manager laughed when she asked about guest lists. "Relax," he said. "It's a fair, not a summit meeting." The windbreakers laughed too. "Want to wash a few funnel cake trays while you're at it, rookie?" She nodded like it helped. She wrote with a dull pencil because sharp ones break at the worst time. Her pencil marks made a small black weather of their own. She wrote without looking down. She watched the sound tech adjust the subwoofers and kept counting his blinks. Behind the food trucks, a boy in a grease-spattered cap tried to lift a propane cylinder alone. He grunted. Amelia took the other side. He noticed her watch. "Doesn't work," he said. "It reminds me," she said. "Of what?" "That time isn't a promise." He stared at her like she had answered a different question than the one he'd asked. Maybe she had. She walked the fence line. There were cuts where the metal braid had been mended by impatient hands. Twisted ties shone fresh. She photographed them with her mind. You can train the mind to be plain film if you teach it to stop wanting to explain. She found a glove near the livestock pens. Left hand, clean on the palm. Filthy at the cuff. A symbol without a sentence. She left it where it lay. At the power cart, a man in a city vest fumbled for a badge he couldn't show. The collar of his shirt was military tight, though. That told her something. He turned his face when she passed. That told her more. On the midway, a carny shouted, "3 throws for 5. Her fingers twitched. The empty wallet did its quiet work. She kept walking. Not because she didn't want to play, but because she did. She refused to feed that part of herself tonight. Her phone buzzed, a small jump under her coat. Unknown number. She let it ring once longer than a cautious person would and answered. "Say your name," a voice ordered. Calm voice, sand in it. "Old command in the throat, Amelia. You're late. For what?" "To be underestimated." The voice cut a breath. "Listen, rookie. You've got 40 minutes until the speech. Check the West Service Gate. The lock is a story that ends wrong." "Who is this?" The voice ignored that. "When you're done, find the bleachers. 4th row center. There's a coin taped under a seat." Head side scratched. "That means it's ours." "Ours?" she asked. He didn't answer. The line clicked. She felt the old heat under the ribs. The one she thought she had buried with the watch. West Service Gate. She went. The chain was silver where the rest of the fence was green with time. The lock was new, but the stamp on it was wrong for county. She traced the stamp with her nail. The wind pushed dust across her boots and then pulled it back like a tide. Behind her, someone said, "Need help, rookie?" She turned. It wasn't a windbreaker. It wasn't a carny. It was a man with a haircut that lived in regulations. He wore civilian clothes that fit like a uniform. His eyes didn't search her. They measured. He rose from the bleachers like he had been carved there and then decided not to be. His voice carried in the space before the music came up again. They talked to her like a rookie until a Marine rose and ordered, "Iron Wolf, stand ready." She knew that call sign. She knew that order. She knew it from a life where her watch still kept time. "Who are you?" she asked, and he said, "Gunner Sergeant Hale," he said. "Retired. Not tired." She stared at the mouth that had once shouted at storms and won. He didn't offer a hand. "Marines teach their hands to wait until they're needed. Iron Wolf," he said again, softer now. "You remember how to wear it?" She wanted to lie. She didn't. "It's heavy. Then it fits." She looked at the west gate again. New chain. Wrong lock. The padlock number had a stutter in it. Repeated digits that felt like an inside joke between tools. Someone had installed it with purpose. Maybe honest, maybe not. "What's behind the gate?" she asked. "Service road, generators, vendor storage. And a way in that doesn't ask for a wristband." Hale walked with her. He walked like the ground owed him a favor. He didn't touch the fence. He knew better than to leave fingerprints on questions. "Why me?" she asked. "Because you didn't throw the first punch when they called you rookie," he said. "And because you're still here." The empty wallet bent when she leaned. It hurt again. She hated that a lack of paper could make a spine feel thin. "I'm not here for money," she said. "I know," he said. "That's why I called you." "What's the play?" "You already made it," Hale said. "You walked the fence. You saw the men's. You measured the man in the city vest who couldn't show you the city. You found the glove you didn't like. Now you do one more thing." He pointed his chin at the stage. "You keep a girl alive while her father sells hope." He unbuttoned the cuff of his flannel and showed a patch of skin white as an old envelope. "Record of decision," he said. "Made too late once. Never again. Who's the threat?" "Men who forgot why we ever wore boots," he said. "They call themselves clean. They aren't. One of them will smile when the power flickers. That's when you count backward from 10 and all your numbers must be true." The music swelled. The crowd pressed. He watched them like he was memorizing a poem that only had 4 words: exit, sightlines, cover, distance. "Why Iron Wolf?" she asked. "That name. Because you move quiet," he said. "Because you don't break formation when another heart does. And because you drag your pack and still you run." She thought of the broken watch, of Zo217, of the one Tuesday that unscrewed all the lids. She thought of the boy at the propane tank and how he had wanted to fix what he didn't know yet was wrong. "4th row, center?" she asked. "Coin's yours," he said. "Take it if you decide to carry the name. Leave it if you choose a gentler night." A kinder voice might have told her there was no wrong choice. Hale didn't do kinder voices. He gave her weather reports and made her walk in them. She went to the bleachers. 4th row, center. She reached under and felt tape, then metal. Head side scratched. She freed the coin and turned it in her fingers. It was warm already. That felt like a trick. She didn't like that. She pocketed it anyway. On stage, volunteers tested the mic. A child laughed at the echo and chased it. Security windbreakers told a vendor to push his cart back 3 feet. They pushed their voices to the limits of borrowed authority. Amelia walked the vendor rows again. A kettle corn drum rattled. A toggle switch near the juice bar was cracked and colored over with Sharpie. A generator line arced out of sight. She traced it to a stack of plastic bins. The bins were labeled in a handwriting that wanted to be neat and hadn't quite learned how. Her phone buzzed. The number this time wasn't unknown. It was someone she used to be. She let it hum itself out. "Decision?" Hale asked, coming up wordless until he wasn't. "Coin's in my pocket," she said. "Then the name's in your mouth," he said. "Say it." "Iron Wolf," she said, and the air around the word leaned in. He nodded once. He had nodded that way when she had done harder things. It never felt like praise. It felt like a receipt. "Westgate?" she asked. 30 minutes, he said. "They like the dark, so they will steal it. When they do, they'll be ready to help people panic. We'll be ready to help them fail." She thought of panic not as a flood, but as a scatter of beads. Each bead rolled wicked fast. "If you trapped one, you could slow the whole spill." "Why warn me with calls and coins?" she asked. "Why not just tell the sheriff?" "I did," he said. "He said fares make people silly paranoid. And you?" "I am an old man who remembers how quick a crowd turns to smoke." He lifted his sleeve again. The pale skin wasn't a threat. It was a story. She didn't need the plot. She understood the tone. They crossed behind the stage. The sun slid. Speakers tested again. A hush came down like hands over ears. One light and then another rose into evening. She felt the watch. She felt the empty wallet. She felt the dusty road grit in every seam of her boots. The world had placed 3 small stones in her pockets and asked if she could swim. "On my word," Hale said. "You move." "What word?" she asked. He waited. The crowd roared for nothing. The speakers cried and settled. He leaned close, voice low, rough. Now! But he didn't say now. He shouted a different word that hit every rib in her body like a tap on the right door. Iron Wolf, stand ready! And all the lights went out. Darkness doesn't fall. It arrives. It doesn't need gravity, only a switch and a man who knows where the wire runs. The gasp of a crowd is round. Then it goes sharp. Sharp cuts. Phones lit. The fair became a shallow pond of faces staring down at their own light. 10. Hale said in her ear. He had switched to radio without telling her. He trusted she would find him there. 9. Amelia moved. She counted with him. She counted once out loud and once in the bones. Bones have truer numbers. 8. She slid between a popcorn stand and a photo booth. City Vest was back at the power cart, head tilted, listening to the way the dark hummed. Some men listen to their hearts like that. He listened to the machine he had just broken. 7. She kept the coin in one pocket and the broken watch in the other, left and right. She liked the balance of imperfect things. 6. A windbreaker tried to play hero and started shouting. The crowd obeyed his panic more than his words. Amelia watched the first bead break away, then another. Panic beads love a slope. The midway was a slope. 5, Hale said. Make your own light. She raised her small flashlight, cupping it with her hand to narrow the spill. She wrote on the ground with it. The words were, here, not there. 4. She reached the west gate. The chain was fresh, the padlock wrong, but the gateposts were old wood bolted into new concrete. Old wood keeps secrets longer than steel. She ran fingers along the post, found a soft knot pressed, and felt the near bolt give. The chain drooped one notch. A body could slide through if it remembered how to be a letter, not a shape. She became a lowercase L3. On the service road, dust rose, grateful for excuse. The road ran behind a long line of trucks and vans. Labels, kettle, systems, rides, waste. No label. The Sprinter van with the rental tag bent up under the bumper. She smelled cold metal inside it. You can if you stand still enough. 2. Hale's voice went calm. That was how you knew the weather was bad. Wolf, I'm at the stage. Hands on the principles. Find the plug. Find the man. Don't let him count to 0. 1. She reached the Sprinter and spoke soft to the seam of its door. I am here for whatever you think you are braver than. She opened the door. Inside, a silent generator sat on a rubber mat. Battery banks blinked dull. Coiled cable waited like patient snakes. On the floor, a clipboard, check marks, time boxes. 104, 2111, 2117. She wanted to laugh. The watch in her pocket was stuck at 0217. The world loved to rhyme. She took 3 photos with her mind. Then one with a phone, flash off, a throat clicked behind her. Don't move. The voice was young, the kind of young that tries to put metal on itself to feel older. She raised her hands, palms open. Empty wallet sat against her ribs like a witness. You're not county, the voice said. Turn around slow. She turned. The boy from the propane tank held a pistol like it was a live thing he didn't trust not to bite him. His eyes chased her hands, then her face, then his decision. You left the glove, she said. He flinched. You don't know anything. I know you used to pick up your dad's cigarettes with that glove so the smell wouldn't rat you out. She nodded at his cuff. I know that cuff is dirty because you dragged it under a fence this afternoon. I know you dropped the glove when the power cut because your brain ran out of fingers to count with. He blinked. Tears tried to be born and then changed their mind. Put the gun down, she said. Can't, he said. He said if I ran, he'd find my mom. Who? The boy's eyes flicked past her toward the gate. Fear looked there at something exact. Fear rarely invents. Amelia stepped into the doorframe, blocking the view out. I can get you out, she said. Hale can shield your mom before the second number hits. Second number? Their plan, she said. The dark is just so people turn their heads. The real thing is what hurts while they're looking away. How do you know? Because men who cheat the power never stop at one trick, she said. They hate audiences unless the audience is bleeding. He swallowed. The pistol sagged.
He said they'd make the stage sound like thunder. They will try, she said.
But thunder answers someone else. A shadow cut the service road. Not lamp shadow. Muscle shadow. He came like a person used to doors opening without him touching them. He wore a vest with no patches and a smile that didn't reduce any of the tension in his face. Put the gun on the seat, kid, he said, not loud. Laughter from the fair tried to rise again and died at his tone. The boy froze, hands trembling. Amelia watched the man's right hand. It was empty. She watched his left eye. It wasn't. You must be County, the man said to her. County got bold. Vendor support, she said. Too many unplugged things. Vendor support carries a radio? He asked. Too many unplugged people, she said. He smiled again. Smaller. He didn't like to be wrong twice in one sentence. Walked toward me. She didn't move. He didn't ask again. He reached into his vest. Not for a pistol. For a small gray remote with a single rubber button. Let's see who likes thunder, he said. He pressed it. The generator inside the Sprinter hiccuped. Somewhere near the stage, 2 subwoofers coughed, then roared low like an animal after anesthesia. The crowd cheered at the wrong time. Cheers are easy to counterfeit. Hale's voice in her ear didn't rise. Stage is safe for the next 60 seconds, he said. Anything after that depends on you, Wolf. The boy's pistol shook. The remote guy didn't watch the boy. He watched Amelia's shoulders. He wasn't afraid of bullets. He was afraid of decisions. You know that button is a wish, not a god, she said. He shrugged. Wishes move people too. Only the ones who haven't looked under the seat yet, she said, and then moved. Movement is a grammar. She kept the sentence short. Step, grab wrist, twist. The remote hit the rubber mat, bounced once, twice, and she pinned it with her heel. He tried to headbutt her. She let his forehead find nothing and gave him the door instead. Metal sang. The boy flinched and the pistol dropped to the floor like it had been waiting to. Amelia didn't kick the pistol away. She kicked it toward the boy. He stared at it as if it had asked him to marry it. Pick it up like it's a camera, she said. Index along the side. Trigger finger here. She placed his hand. She hated this. Teaching a child how to hold harm, but teaching how to hold is sometimes how you teach how to set down. The man on the floor laughed, blood slicking his teeth. You try to make apprentices wherever you go? I try to move exits closer, she said. He spat. Too late. Trucks on the South Road are wired. Not for boom, for heat. When the candidate's mic pops, the trailer doors open and smoke makes the crowd run right where we want them. Where? She asked. North corner. Fence gap. Ravine. He said, pleased to be the author of a sentence no one else had read yet. Where is your second? She asked. And what is he worse at than you? He blinked. He almost answered. Then he smiled again, wide, and let silence do his bragging. Amelia pressed the broken watch into his palm and closed his fingers. He frowned. What is this? He asked. The last time you can say you didn't know better, she said. She zip-tied his hands with a cable from the battery bank. The plastic bit the way plastic does. It sounds like a cheap answer until it doesn't. Hale, she said. South Road. Trailers open on mic pop. Copy, he said. She heard the grain of his breath. He was moving fast. He was moving old. I'll clog that artery. You shut off the heart. The heart is where? He didn't answer. Then he did. Follow the song that shouldn't be playing. The fair had a playlist. You learn it after one loop. A wrong song is a smoke alarm for the mind if you train it to be. She listened. Past the laughter. Past the cheer that had learned to flinch. There. A synth line that wasn't from the band. It came from the livestock pens. It came from the dusty road's far end where the floodlights had not been aimed because the cows knew how to be honest in the dark. She told the boy, walk behind me. Right hand on my coat. We cross open ground. We are not small. We are straight. You are a lowercase L again. What if someone shouts at you, she said, pretend you thought they were your cousin and wave. If someone aims at you, fall down and crawl like you are unfinished. People don't shoot unfinished things as quick. They like to think they solve. The boy nodded because he didn't have a better superstition yet. They crossed the service road. Dust rose. The coin in her pocket felt like it had gained weight. That's how resolve lies. It masquerades as mass. At the pens, the wrong song was louder. Not a song, really. A loop. 4 notes. Then one note held longer than it should have. That hold was the code. She lifted a tarp. Under it a case, black, clean, stickers peeled off. That told her the operator wanted the case invisible in photographs. She opened it. Inside, a transmitter mated to a timer. The timer had been set not to count down, but to wait. To wait for the held note, to hear it the way a hunting dog hears the earth. She pulled the power. The unit didn't die. It flipped to battery reserve. She smiled at the audacity. She hated it too. She pinched the reserve line and pulled it clean by bracing it against the case lid and closing quick. The unit went blank. The wrong song kept playing because the wrong song wasn't the fuse, just the whistle the fuse had learned from somewhere. "Wolf," Hale said, voice thinner.